Hello everyone, this is Babamots. I'm making this video in order to make sure that everybody knows about the Great Homeworlds Tournament of 2024. I want to answer two questions for you. One is, do I have time to participate in this tournament? And the other one is, what does this tournament look like? What's the format and how long will it last? This is the page for the tournament on Board Game Arena. There will be a link in the video description. You can see that right now we're at 29 players out of the 35 that are needed. So we need at least 6 more people to turn up, or BJ is going to cancel the tournament on us. So if you haven't signed up yet, please do sign up. I'm going to skip ahead to the do I have time to participate in this tournament question. So the format is that each player gets 15 days on their clock. And the hardest thing that can happen time-wise is that you get paired up with a person who always makes all of their moves immediately after you do. It's that person who's always online, who moves right away and makes it so it's always your clock that's running. I'm looking at you, Stevie. Always online. So let's do some math and see what happens in that case. So I have collected the records of all of the Board Game Arena games that have been played up to April 2024, and these are the lengths of those games. You can study that if you'd like, but more important than that is of the games that actually went a reasonable amount of time. So I'm going to throw out these few down here that barely got started, these people who quit before they figured out what was going on. How long do those games go? So if it's always your clock that's running, then what you need to know is what are my chances of timing out if it's always my clock that's running, and let's say I only move once every 2 days. If you only move once every 2 days, I'm sorry, you're going to time out. Or at least in 97.4% of games played on Board Game Arena, the length was 15 moves or more. Therefore, if your clock, or rather, let's see, what would that be? 15 moves total or more. 7.5 per player, you're going to time out. If you move 1 time per day, then your chances drop to 76% chance of timeout against that one crazy person. Remember that most people are also only going to be playing 2, 3, maybe 4 times a day. So their clock is going to be running at least some of the time. This chart's made with the assumption that it's always your clock running. If you move twice per day, your chances drop all the way to 21% of timing out. And that's pretty good, at least against that one person. And if you're able to move 3 times a day, then really your chances of being okay are just pretty good. Only a 4% chance of timing out in that case. All right, let's look at the format of the tournament some more. So this time I'm trying things a little bit different. I want to have a format where everybody gets to play a fairly large number of games. You play a variety of people, but it's really hard for me to do all that organization myself, so I'm trying to let BGA do some of the tournament creation. So here is the plan right now. There's going to be a qualifier tournament with 7 groups, assuming everybody signs up. 35 to 56 people are allowed. That's why we know that we'll have 5 to 8 players in each group. You're going to play each other person in your group 1 time. Win is 1 point. Draw is half of a point. Highest scoring player advances. The trouble is that draws, or rather tied scores, are fairly common, and BGA just sort of automatically breaks the tie in any way that it chooses, and that's not a great way to do it. So I'm going to let BGA go ahead and do the second phase of the tournament in a way that doesn't count. So BGA is going to say, oh, I'm going to take 1 player from each group, put him in another phase, and determine the winner. But that's not actually how we're going to decide who wins the qualifier. I'm going to look carefully at all of the records of all of the groups and select the 2 players with the highest score. If there are ties, then I will look at the subgroup. I'll just look at the who beat whom among the the players that are tying for that position, and so on. I'll do so in a sensible way. 2 people from each group will advance to the semifinal, where we'll have 14 players split into 2 groups, 7 players per group now. So you'll play 6 more games, 1 game against each person. BGA again is going to select a person from each group to play in what it thinks is the final. Not so. That's just going to be 1 game. There will be a fair number of games to play if you're advancing from the qualifier phase that BGA is going to unload games on you here. That's a little extra practice. This will just be 1 extra game for the 2 people with the very highest scores as determined by BGA, but again, I will be doing the official score, keeping the official tie-breaking, and the 2 players with the highest scores, as determined by me, will be moving on to the final from each group. So that's 4 players total. 2 players from each group. 4 players, and they're going to play each other each 2 times. So that's 6 more games. Once as first player, once as second player. And then highest score out of that final round wins, with potentially some tiebreaker matches as needed. So that's the format. You've got hopefully a better idea of whether you've got the time to participate. If you would like to play, then use the link in the video description to sign up. Hope I see you there.